Welcome to our GPS 103A Bag Pallet Unit Load Standard presentation, otherwise known as Perfect Pallet. What we will be covering today are the tests that will be performed, the tools used for each test, the Perfect Pallet requirements for each test, videos on how each test is performed, and finally, how test results are documented. Note, prior to performing each test, go to the GPS standard or site-specific procedures and review the details for each test. The tests that will be performed are freeboard, overhang, stretch force, and finally visual appearance. The tools used for the test are, for freeboard, a 6-inch ruler, for overhang, 1 standard square and a second square with a measuring guide / scale. And the last test is the stretch force, where we use a force gauge, film test disc plate, and a 6-inch ruler. The perfect pallet requirements to meet are freeboard, which shall be less than 4 inches, which is 10.16 centimeters. Overhang, which shall be less than 1 inch or 2.54 centimeters. Stretch wrap force, which shall be greater than 40 pounds, which is 13.64 kgs. And finally, visual appearance, which is bags shall align to form a cube. Stretch wraps shall have no fraying at the top. Slip sheets must not exceed pallet dimensions. And finally, top sheet or cap must lay flat with no overhang. For the freeboard test, the following steps are what we perform. 1. Remove the bag from the bag line. Stand the full bag on one end and settle product down to bottom. If there is excessive air in the bag, puncture a small hole in the top to allow the air to escape quickly. Next, fold top of the bag to make flat, and then stand the bag up. Next, place 6-inch ruler on the bag, resting it on the product. Take measurement just below the sealed area. Record the measurement on the Perfect Pallet checklist. If measurement is greater than 4 inches, perform site-specific corrective actions. Overhang. On the front side of the unit, visually determine the area with the maximum overhang. Place the square near that area. Note, ensure bottom of the square is flat against the floor. Place the square with the guide scale in front of the first square and then slide it to the left until it touches the pallet. Read the guide scale measurement. Document the measurement on the Perfect Pallet checklist. Measurements must be within the standard or site-approved standard. If measurement is outside the standard, perform site-specific corrective action. Repeat measurements for the remaining 3 sides of the pallet, left, back, and right. Stretch force. Note, local site uses the gauge method. Measurements will be taken on the long side of the pallet only. Use a film test kit. Place the disc plate between the bags and the stretch wrap at the first test location. Note, first location is the side where you only see 2 bags on the third layer. Pierce the stretch wrap film to let the disc plate post stick through the film. Once post is through the film, hook and connect the force gauge to it. Pull the disc plate away from the bags in order to cut a slit big enough to insert the 6-inch ruler next to the disc plate. Insert the 6-inch ruler through the slit by the disc plate. Once in position, gently pull the force gauge away from the pallet until stretch wrap is either greater than 4 inches and force reads less than 40 pounds, or is less than 4 inches and the force reads greater than 40 pounds. Document the measurement on the Perfect Pallet checklist. Measurement must be within the standard or site-approved standard. If measurement is outside the standard, perform site-specific corrective action. Repeat measurements for the second test location. Note, second test location is the opposite side of the first test location and is 3 layers down from the top, where you will see 3 bags on that layer. Once post is through the film, hook and connect the force gauge to it. Pull the disc plate away from the bags in order to cut a slit big enough to insert the 6-inch ruler next to the disc plate. Once in position, gently pull the force gauge away from the pallet until stretch wrap is either greater than 4 inches and force reads less than 40 pounds, or is less than 4 inches and the force reads greater than 40 pounds. Document the measurement on the Perfect Pallet checklist. Measurement must be within the standard or site-approved standard. If measurement is outside the standard, perform site-specific corrective action. Visual appearance. Visually inspect that 1. The slip sheet does not exceed pallet dimensions. 2. The top sheet or cap lays flat with no overhang. 3. The stretch wrap has no fraying at the top. And finally, 4. The bags are aligned to form a cube shape.